Let's get started. Section 7.4, Elimination using multiplication. Today, we're going to look at solving systems of equations by elimination with multiplication. We're also going to work on determining the best method for solving system of equations. We've learned quite a few different ways, so let's just look at this example. How can a manager use a system of equations to plan employee time? The Finneytown Bakery is making peanut butter cookies and loaves of quick bread. The preparation and baking time for each are given in the table below. We can see it down here. Okay, right here. For these two items, management has allotted 800 minutes of employee time and 900 minutes of oven time. Okay. If C represents the number of batches of cookies and B represents the number of loaves of bread, the following system of equations on the left can be used to determine. 20C plus 10B equals 800. So it's going to take 800 minutes to make 20 batches of cookies and 10 loaves of bread. And it's going to take 10C plus 30B equals 900. It's going to make 10 batches of cookies and 30 batches or 30 loaves of bread. It's going to take 900 minutes in the oven. So how can we solve for C and B right now? Well, let's just look at it and see if we can figure it out. Well, we could do substitution. That might take a little bit. We can do elimination, but if you look at the two examples, if you look at the two equations, neither of them have the same coefficient in front of the same variable. So we have two equations. I'm going to rewrite them. 20C plus 10B equals 800. The second equation is, I'm going to put it over here to the left for now just so you can see what we're doing, is 10C plus 30B equals 900. If you notice, we can get to elimination. 20C and 10C are pretty close, but we're going to have to do something to this equation. What do you think it would be? How can we get 10 to be 20? Going to have to multiply it by 2. And remember, for properties of equality, whatever I do to one side of the equation or one part of the equation, I have to do all parts of the equation. So let's take that bottom equation and multiply it by 2 across the board. So we're going to get, let's make it a negative 2, just so we can save a step. So negative 2 times 10, scoot it up a little bit, is negative 20C. Negative 2 times 30B is negative 60B. And negative 2 times 900 is negative 1800B. So now we have two equations, so we can eliminate the C value. So 20C minus 20C is 0. We'll put a 0 there for now. 10B minus 60B is negative 50B. And 800 minus 1800 is a negative 1000. So negative 50B equals a negative 1000. So let's divide each side by negative 50. So B is going to equal 20. So for bread, we know we have to make 20 loaves. So now we've got to go back and solve for C. Let's go back and use the second equation. 10C plus 30B equals 900. Well, we know what B is, so we can rewrite it as 10C plus 30. But instead of using B, we'll use what we found to be B, where B equals 20. So we'll just plug that in. 20 equals 900. So rewrite it. 10C, 30 times 20 is 600 equals 900. So subtract 600 to each side. So 10C equals 300. Divide each side by 10. So C equals 30. So we know we can make 20 loaves of bread and 30 batches of cookies by elimination. That's just a quick example. We'll go through it again in a little bit more detail. Multiply one equation to eliminate. So we have two equations. We're just going to walk through what the book does on this one for you. We have two equations. Equation 1, 3x plus 4y equals 6. And equation 2, 5x plus 2y equals negative 4. Alright, we're going to multiply the second equation by negative 2 so we can get the coefficients of the y terms to be additive inverses. So we're going to get 3x plus 4y equals 6, and then we're going to go 5x plus 2y minus 4. We're going to multiply that one by negative 2, so we get a new equation. So it would be negative 10x minus 4y equals 8. Now we just add the two equations together, so we get negative 7x equals 14. Divide each side by negative 7, so x equals negative 2. Now we've got x figured out, we got to solve for y. So what we're going to do is we're going to substitute negative 2 for a y. We use the first equation. We get 3x plus 4y equals 6. So we're going to substitute the x with negative 2. So we get 3 times negative 2 instead of the x plus 4y equals 6. We simplify. 3 times negative 2 is negative 6. So we get negative 6 plus 4y equals 6. We're going to add 6 to each side to get rid of the negative. So we get 4y equals 12. Divide each side by 4. So we're going to get y equals 3. So solution set is negative 2 comma 3. Let's see if we can do another one. Okay. This example right here, we have, I'm going to do it on my own this time and you can follow through. 3x plus 4y equals negative 25. Make that equation 1. Equation 2 is 2x minus 3y equals 6. So let's look at this one. Okay. Now there's nothing just super easy to do elimination with multiplication, but we can find a common factor between these and use that. So let's look at the x's. If I multiplied the top one by 2 and the bottom one by 3, we could get the coefficient in front of the x's to be 6. Okay, look at the second one, the y's. If I multiply the top one by 3, I could get a coefficient of 12y. And if I multiply the bottom equation by positive 4, I'd get a coefficient of negative 12y. And I could just add those two equations together. That looks to me like the easiest way to go. So what we're going to do is we're going to multiply the equation 1 by 3, and we're going to multiply the second equation by 4. So we're going to get some new equations here. So let's start. What is 3 times 3x? Be 9x. So I'm just multiplying it there. What is 3 times 4y? Become 12y. And what is 3 times negative 25? Well, that'd be negative 75. The second equation, we decided we can use positive 4. So let's go. What is 4 times 2x? Be a positive 8x. What is 4 times negative 3y? Be negative 12y. What would be 4 times 6? That would be positive 24. So now we've adjusted equation 1 and 2. Now we have the y coefficients where we can just add or subtract right here. That's what we're looking for to eliminate. We were able to eliminate that. So now let's add the two equations. 9x plus 8x is 17x. 12y minus 12y is 0. Negative 75 plus 24 is going to be negative 51. So we get 17x equals negative 51. So if that space bothers you, just rewrite it. 17x equals negative 51. Divide each side by 17, you're going to get x equals to negative 3. Okay, we're not done. We've got to plug in the x value we just solved for. We've got to plug in the x value we just solved for into one of the equations. Okay, I'm going to use equation 1. So I'm going to rewrite equation 1 right here. 3x plus 4y equals negative 25. Okay, I'm going to solve, or I'm going to substitute. I'm going to put in the x of negative 3. So 3 times negative 3 plus 4y equals negative 25. So simplify, I'm going to get negative 9 plus 4y equals negative 25. I'm going to add 9 to each side. So I'm going to get 4y is equal to negative 16. Divide each side by 4. Divide each side by 4. I'm going to get y is negative 4. So I can rewrite my solution set like this. Negative 3, comma, negative 4. Alright, and the book can take you through, and it shows you can do it either way. And it takes about the same amount of steps. So it does not matter as long as you use whatever's easiest for you. Next example, let's determine the best method to use. We have learned 5 methods to solve linear equations. Okay, the first method is graphing. It is best to estimate the solution, since graphing usually does not give an exact solution. Okay, graphing is probably the least preferred way. Substitution. If one variable has a coefficient of 1 or negative 1, that might be the easiest one to solve for. Or if it's pretty simple for you to get to the variable on one side of the equation by itself. Elimination using addition. If one of the variables has the exact opposite coefficient in the other equation, you can just add or subtract them. Okay, a multiplication. If none of the coefficients are 1 or negative 1, or neither of the variables can be eliminated by simply adding or subtracting the equation, then you'll have to manipulate the coefficients by using multiplication. So let's take a look. Okay, look at this very first example. Determine the best method to use for this equation. So I'm going to rewrite it over here. Four x minus 3y is equal to 12, and x plus 2y is equal to 12. Sorry, is equal to 14. Okay. You could use the substitution method. You could use the elimination method. There's a bunch of different methods you could use. Alright. You might say, hey, you know what? I can just multiply this by the bottom one by negative 4 and solve for it. Or I could rewrite the second equation and just subtract 2y to each side. And I get a new equation of x equals 14 minus 2y. And then you could just use substitution. You could substitute that 14(2x) for that. So since we've already started that, let's go ahead and move it that way. So let's rewrite the first equation. I like the number. Okay, so that's still equation 2. So equation 1 is this: 4x minus 3y equals 12. Okay, so let's substitute the x value we just found. So we'll go 4 times, in parentheses, 14 minus 2y, so you're going to have to use the distributive property, minus 3y equals 12. So 4 times 14 is 56, minus 4 times negative 2y would be negative 8y, minus 3y equals 12. So we did distributive property. Now sum like terms, so we're going to get 56 minus 11y equals 12. Subtract 56 to each side. We're going to get negative 11y equals negative 44. Divide each side by negative 11. So y is going to be positive 4. Okay, we're not done yet. We've solved for y, so we've got to solve for x. Well, luckily for us, equation number 2 we already set up to be x equals 14 minus 2y. So let's rewrite it, x equals 14 minus 2, but instead of using the y, we'll use what we found for it, 4. So x equals 14 minus 8, so x equals 6. So our solution set is x equals 6, y equals 4, which we can rewrite 6 comma 4. That's our solution set. Alright, and you can see, and I'm going to show this on the video just in case you prefer, you can look at the book and it's going to show you they did substitution first, and they got the same solution set we did, 6 comma 4. Okay, example number 4, write and solve an equation. Alright, a coal barge in the Ohio River travels 24 miles upstream in 3 hours. Alright, so it takes, and we wrote an upstream equation, 24 hours the distance times 3 hours. The return trip only takes 2 hours. Find the rate of the barge in still water. Alright, let B be the rate of the barge in still water, and C be the rate of the current. Okay, use the formula to find the distance. Okay, alright, so going downstream, he's going with the current, so he's got a basic rate and a current, so B plus C is the rate. It takes him 2 hours. The distance is 24, so distance is 24 miles. So we just multiply rate times time to get distance, so we get 2B plus 2C equals 24. Alright, going upstream, it's his rate minus the current, so B minus C takes 3 hours. The distance is the same, 24, so we're going to get 3B minus 3C. Alright, so the system can't just be easily solved right now. We have two equations. Equation number 1 is when it's going downstream, it's 2B plus 2C equals 24. The second equation is when it's going upstream, is 3B minus 3C equals 24. Okay, there's not an easy way to solve or to simplify. You could eliminate number 1, and I mean you could substitute on number 1, divide everything by 2 and get one of the variables by itself. You could just multiply both of them. I'm going to choose multiplication because I think that'll be easiest. So looking at equation 1, we're going to multiply this whole thing times 3, and we're going to multiply equation 2, everything by 2. So let's look at how this is going to play out. So 3 times 2b is going to be 6b. 3 times 2c is going to be 6c. And 3 times 24 is going to be 72. Okay, so the new equation 1 is written up. So going with equation 2. 2 times 3b is 6b. 2 times negative 3c is negative 6c. And 2 times 24 is 48. So now we can just add these equations together. So 6b plus 6b is 12b. 6c minus 6c is 0. 72 plus 48 is 120. So divide each side by 12. So the rate of the barge, or B, is 10. Okay, we're not done. We're not done. We've got to go solve for the rate of the current now. So the barge is 10. So let's reuse equation number 1. 2b plus 2c equals 24. Going to plug in 10 for the value of b. So 2 times 10 plus 2c equals 24. Okay, simplify, so it'd be 20 plus 2c equals 24. Subtract 20 on each side. So we're going to get 2c equals 4. We'll divide each side by 2. We're going to get c equals 2. So our solution set is the barge has a rate of 10 miles an hour. The current has a rate of 2 miles an hour. So our solution set B, C would be 10, 2. Okay. Let's see if there's anything else on this slide for you to look at. Okay. Nope. Guided practice. Use elimination to solve these equations. So, first thing we're going to do is always inspect to see if you see an easy way to do it. So number 4, let's look at number 4. I got 2x minus y equals 6 and a 3x plus 4y equals negative 2. Okay. Well, I notice in equation 1, if I multiply the entire equation by 4, I get a new equation with the coefficient of negative 4y, which I can easily add or subtract. So let's multiply that one by 4. So that'll be 8x minus 4 times negative y minus 4y equals 24. So that's my new equation 1. So let's draw our equation 2 right back underneath it. 3x plus 4y equals negative 2. Now we can just add these to come up with a new equation. So I get 11x, the 4y, negative 4y and positive 4y would cancel, equals 24 minus 2 is 22. So 11x equals 22. So I can say divide each side by 11. So x is going to equal to 2. Okay, now I can go back and solve for y. So let's use equation 1 again. Over here, equation 1. 2x minus y equals 6. Plug in our x value. So it'd be 2 times 2 minus y equals 6. So it'd be 4 minus y equals 6. So subtract 4 to each side. So negative y is going to equal to 2. So y is going to be equal to negative 2. So the solution set 2, negative 2. Alright. You guys should be able to get the rest of these on your own. Looking at number 5, you could use substitution. Okay, it says use elimination, so the first one, the easiest one, probably multiply the top one by 3. This number 6, you can multiply the top one by 3 and the bottom one by 2. And number 7, you could probably just multiply the bottom one by 2.